No, I know we all want to make fun of Griffith because Lord Gennon asked him to come hang out and, have a little bit of fun in his hot tub with the boys. And in exchange, Griffith would get some of the funding that he needed in order to propel the Bennett the Hawk into the stratosphere that they went into and in order to fulfill his dream. And, I'm just sitting here thinking, like, we all got a price, man. We all got a price. Don't, there's plenty of things to knock Griffith for, but this one, like, you can't tell me if somebody came to you and was like, here's a couple $100,000, here's a couple $1,000,000. All we got to do is just hang out in the hot tub tonight, have a little bit of fun with the boys, and then, after that, you can achieve all of your dreams. What do you say? And I say, hey, $20 is $20. No, but watching this episode of the Berserk Memorial Edition, I really got to thinking about how poorly constructed the story of the Golden Age is during this version of the anime, because it misses so many vital pieces of context that make things important and make things actually feel like they have an impact. Now, I love the scene in this episode and, that was in the second movie where Griffith approaches Lord Gennon and Gennon starts pleading to him, and Griffith speaks about how I don't harbor any ill will towards you. And I fully 100% believe Griffith when he says that. He does exactly what he needs to do in order to achieve his dream. And whether that means doing something good, whether that means doing something bad, whether that means bowing down to a king, whether that means hoeing out his butt, whether that means just being a true, honest-to-God, great leader of his Band of the Hawk, which he was. I never subscribed to the idea that Griffith was pure evil from the starter, that, he just only wanted pure selfish desires. He's a human being. He's complex. He's willing to do the darker things in order to get what he wants, and he eventually gives himself over to his absolute darkest. But, in the meantime of trying to achieve this, he's just playing by the rules of mankind. He's playing by the rules of humanity of what he needs to do to get there. But the problem with this episode, or just this scene in the movie, and, I feel bad saying this a little bit because the movies were my introduction to Berserk, and I have a very soft spot in my heart for them. But when you watch them as movies, I guess maybe it doesn't feel as bad because the pace is so quick and because it's literally like designed and made to be a film. It's not meant to be an episode. So when you break it down into episodes and you see things at 20 minutes apiece, you start to notice these little things that just make these big moments not feel so big. So when Griffith says, you were just a stone in my path and, you were just something that I had to step over and, I don't harbor any ill will towards you. That was a moment in time, something I needed to do, but now I've moved past that. Now I need to move forward. And, now keeping you alive is going to cause bad repercussions for me because if rumors get out, if things like that happen, so I have to, basically got to do what I got to do. I got to kill you. But it wasn't out of anger or resentment. It was just like, this is just the next stage in my plan. But what I feel takes away from that so much is that we don't see the full backstory. We don't see the full Casca explanation about how she saw him at Lord Gennon's, or how she saw him in the river trying to wash off and he's digging his nails into his body, like to the things that he realizes what he's going to have to do in order to achieve all of his goals in life. It's a really dark moment, and it's a really great character moment for Griffith, for that kind of realization of like, this, I am way past the point of no return. Like, I have to do this. And it leads into his motivation about why he would want to make the sacrifice later on, right? So, you're missing those kind of vital details in the story. And because of that, when it has these big moments, when it has the death of Gennon, or when it has the Battle of Doldry, it just doesn't feel as important. It doesn't feel like it matters as much. And it feels like it really is a true, like, Spark Notes version of Berserk. It's just like, here's just something that happened, here's something that happened, here's something that happened. When we were getting the Memorial Edition, they promoted the Bonfire of Dreams sequence, which was in the last episode, and I thought it was all right. I liked the music choice for it, but if that's the only scene that we're really going to get, and everything else is just like a little touch up on the CGI here and there, they're not really adding to the story. And because of that, we're just seeing the same thing that we saw before. And that's really unfortunate. I was hoping they would add in something of Guts' childhood. I was hoping maybe they will add in a little bit of Wild later on, but I don't think any of that is going to happen. I think the Bonfire of Dreams is pretty much the extent of what we're going to get. If we get anything else, this is just a theory I'm throwing out there. It might be like a scene of Rickert, when Rickert sees Rosine and sees like the Band of the Hawk and the campfire being destroyed, because that would only be like a 1.5 2-minute scene. It's probably something they could throw in relatively quickly. Or after that, when Rickert meets up with the Connies, you know, and sees I don't know why I said it like that. And when Rickert meets Puck a little bit, we might have a Puck cameo. You know, I could see little things like that would take up like a minute of screen time, but really this has just kind of been I don't know. I think watching it episode by episode has really made me realize like how poorly constructed the movies are. And I feel really bad saying that, but it is what it is, man. And you know, the other thing is like there are very important things that I find important in this Battle of Doldry that didn't happen. So when we have Guts versus Boscone, and Boscone is super fucking underrated, all right? Boscone is a badass. This guy is a powerful, like, maniac of epic proportions, all right? Riding around on his horse, swinging his... I don't even know what his weapon is called. Like, what do you call that weapon? I don't know, but he's swinging it around, chopping people in half. This guy is nuts, and he's definitely earned his status within this group, within this army, and he is comparable to Guts. And I think this is something that the manga gets across very, very well. When Guts fights Boscone in the manga, you feel like they are evenly matched. Like, both of these guys are legitimately big, strong, ferocious fighters, right? And you feel that a little bit in the anime, but it never really builds Boscone up to be as powerful as I felt his presence was in the manga. And that could be just attributed to Kentaro Miura's artwork and just how he draws characters. He just draws Boscone extremely intimidating. But, you know, when they're fighting, there's supposed to be this moment where Guts' sword breaks. And to me, that's symbolism of his ending of the Band of the Hawk. It's symbolism of, you know, there are people out there. There are things out there that are stronger than Guts or just as strong as Guts. You know, a reminder that Guts is human, that Guts is mortal. And it's also a moment where Zod intervenes. So we could have motherfucking Zod in this episode. By the way, get yourself a motherfucking Zod t-shirt or hoodie or tank top if you want to go to the gym and work out with motherfucking Zod. Link is in the description down below. If you go to my merch store, merch.streamelements.com/reallifryan, get yourself a motherfucking Zod shirt if you want to. But anyways, there's this moment where it's like Guts could potentially be killed. And Zod, having previously fought Guts, having previously known that he's involved with the eventual eclipse that's going to happen, he wants to be able to fight Guts again. He wants Guts to be stronger. He wants to see things come to fruition. So his intervention is what causes Guts to defeat Boscone. If Zod had not intervened, then Guts would have lost. Or at least that's the way that it's built up to be. I know that we want to think of Guts as like an invincible character because he's so badass, but he is human. So he's weaponless. Boscone's on the horse. He's gonna come down. He's got the high ground, you know, and he's gonna come down and attack him. And then Zod throws his sword. Guts picks it up at the last moment and then beheads Boscone. And it's this big moment. And Guts is like, I don't know where this sword came from. You know, he even puts it down later when he goes to see Casca. He's like, I want to mess with this sword. Like, I have no idea where this came from. And it's also another tease of the eclipse because we see Zod riding away and he's like, the demon advent approaches. And, you know, it's this big, like, what the hell? What is the demon advent? You know, you hear this, like, big epic, you know, prophecy of what is going to happen. But here, everything is, all that is taken away. So instead, you just have like a bunch of CGI guys on horses fighting each other. You do have Casca versus Korbowitz, which was done fine. But again, I think the way that she kills him in the manga is better, where she just like slices the entire top of his head off. So I'm not really sure about this, guys. Like, I don't know if Berserk is doomed forever to not have a good anime adaptation. You know, the movies, I have a soft spot in my heart for them as movies, but watching them as episodes, it's not it. 2016 was not it. 97 is the most superior version, and I love 97 to death. I love the art style, I love the music, I love the voice acting, I love everything about it. I love the presence and the power of it when the eclipse happens. I love how Void just sort of like melts out of the eclipse moon and everything. I love that shit. But you know, that also is missing things. It's also missing Skull Knight. It's also missing the Wounds chapters. It's also missing, you know, other particular things within it. It does have the Zod throwing the sword thing down, which is pretty cool. But overall, I know we are missing a lot of stuff. And maybe just Berserk is not destined to have a good anime. You know, maybe this is just something that is just going to be in manga form. You know, maybe Vagabond had the right idea, where it's like we're not even gonna ever attempt anime because just the manga's where it's at. That's the way to experience, and that's really the only way to do it. I don't know, guys, but after watching this episode, I'm just kind of I might be over it, man. I might be over the Memorial Edition. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think down below. Do you think the same thing that I do? Do you think that maybe just cutting it up into episodes, 20-minute segments is what's bringing it down? It was meant to flow, like the pacing was meant to flow as a movie, and so it just feels wrong, you know, along with all of the missing details and missing scenes and missing emphasis on particular characters and backstories and all of that stuff. I don't know, man. I'm just going to read the manga again. Fuck it. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and comment because it will help me in the algorithm. I'm not doing so hot right now within the algorithm because I do have 2 strikes and the last few videos just didn't really do too well. So if you want to help this one out, just go ahead and give a like or comment. And if you want to support on that deeper level, I have a Patreon and merch store, and channel memberships are also turned on right now, and that gives you perks and exclusive content and things like that. So let me know what you think, and I love you guys. Talk to you next time.